In this video we're going to look at how to answer a 12-mark question in the AQA GCSE spec looking at America in the 1920s to 1973. The question we're going to focus on is which of the following was a more important reason why there were more opportunity in America in the 1920s? Economic growth or social changes? So to answer this question, you're going to do it in 3 paragraphs. Your first paragraph will be about economic growth, the second will be about social changes, and the third will be about doing a conclusion. So the first paragraph, okay, like I was saying, is economic growth. Economic growth was one factor as to why there was more opportunity in America. This is because of development in concepts like mass production, which included producing standardized parts on an assembly line. For example, Ford Motor Industries produce 1 car every minute. As a result, this created employment opportunities throughout America as unskilled workers were able to find a job and receive a good wage. In particular, this allowed more women to work, which increased their financial independence and opportunities to purchase consumer goods. This then led to an increase in consumerism, which boosted the economy even more. As a result of having greater prosperity, it also meant jobs in other industries such as steel, leather and oil opened up. Now have a look at how I started with that point and I explained it and I talked about the impact. Okay, I used those connectives to develop my answer, and that's what you need to do to get into the top level of the mark scheme. Paragraph 2, social changes. The increase in automobile and radio sales also helped to drive social change. This is because the increase in car sales meant that people were able to socialize more as they could drive to sports games, the cinema, and further afield in America. As a result of being more exposed to advertising and the radio and at the cinema, it made people more aware of consumer goods, leisure activities, and fashions. For example, cinema helped to promote the flapper lifestyle, which led to a changed outlook for young women in society. This lifestyle caused, so the impact, more and more of them to start drinking and smoking, as well as starting to go to nightclubs so that they could dance to jazz. The consumer goods promoted in magazines and on the radio also made housework quicker and easier for women, which enabled them to have more leisure time. Again, look at how I started with my point at the start. I explained and I said why, using this is because, and then as I talked about the impact, I used those connectives to develop my answer in enough depth. And again, this is really, really important if you want to get on to the top marks in the mark scheme. Paragraph 3, your conclusion. So overall, economic growth was the main reason why there were more opportunities. My most important reason is because as the economy grew, it created more jobs, which gave people the money and time to take advantage of social changes, especially a large number of people who would not have been able to do so before. In the short term, the things that influenced and brought about social change, radios, cars, the cinema, consumer goods, were a product of economic growth, and they were available to more people as a result of the booming economy. In the long term, the expansion of the auto industry created economic benefit for all. Government spent $1 billion to build new roads, bridges and traffic lights. Gas stations, motels and restaurants sprang up to service drivers who were now covered the longer distances. The insurance industry added expensive protection for the vehicles and their owners, and banks also profited by lending to new car owners. Okay, so what next? You need to make sure you keep practicing this skill. Remember, look at how I started at that point. I explained it and I talked about the impact. That's really important if you want to get those top marks. And remember, it's a transferable skill. You can use this technique in different subjects. Okay, so best of luck.